All right, in this video, we're going to tell you guys how to have the perfect first date with a Slavic woman. And how would we know that?
Because we're international matchmakers and we've seen a lot of very successful first dates and very unsuccessful. So we came up with a formula and we want you to follow that. And by following it, we know that you're going to get a great result. And the first and the most important, what you should do before your first date, no matter where it will be in the world, it's
to research. Sounds boring, but really this is the key. So make sure you know where you're going to be going after the date, before the date, where the date, if you're going to a restaurant, which is you can do. Research what type of restaurant it is, and what the setting is like and what it's like on a particular night. Maybe they have some events or something like that. You want to make sure that everything is taken care of, right? You don't want to be walking around and then getting to the restaurant and then asking for a place to sit and they say, well, we don't have anywhere for 30 minutes or we're booked out or something like that, because it makes you look really, really bad, okay? And this goes research from the start of the date all the way till the end of the date, because the date, as we're going to explain, is not just one place.
Even if you're going to the place where the girl lives and you think, but she should know this German city and she should like show me around it. No, it doesn't work this way. Watch our other video about the frame and keep it strong. And also booking, it's very important. Research and do the booking before you come, because in Europe, even like the very strange place that you think who would ever find it will be fully booked, especially if it is a weekend. So research and bookings of the places and things you want to do in advance is a key of successful date.
Yeah, don't wing it, okay? So the second is very, very important, and it is the locations that you are going to be in, because the location around you is a reflection of you and it's going to leave an impression on her. For example, if you go to a restaurant that is extremely noisy and chaotic, she's going to associate that feeling with you. If you go to a restaurant that is kind of shitty, then she's also going to associate that with you as well. If you go for a walk afterwards and you end up down some really bad street that has garbage and homeless people everywhere, she's going to associate those feelings with you. So the location is very important. Not saying that you have to book a 5-star restaurant and be sitting on some rooftop bar or something like that that's super expensive. You don't have to do that. You just try to think about yourself and how you want to be perceived, and know that location that you've chosen, that you've taken it to, is a direct reflection of you yourself.
Yeah, and also very important to read the reviews about, like, is that place is like smoky, for example, or if it's very noisy in the evening, because it would be impossible to communicate. And the worst, what can happen, like you don't want that the lady will start having a headache and will call the night earlier. Next one.
Okay, be attentive, right? It's not just romantic gestures, or it's not just to be seen as a romantic gesture. When I say attentive, just keep your eye out on things for her. Like if she needs help walking up some steps, or help her with her jacket, or pull the chair out for her. The reason that you do this, yes, it's like got the undertone of chivalry, but it's also, if you take care of the small things, in her mind subconsciously, these are amplified. And in her mind, they're amplified to how you would deal with larger things as well. So if you can't take care of the small things, how are you supposed to take care of the larger things that may come up? So
let's give an examples. There are two types of example, I would say. The first example is that like you should like really be attentive, like help her with a chair, help her with a jacket, open the door for her, so I can say give a hand and etc. You also like she will watch how you deal with other people, like how you talk to the waiter without like flirting with a beautiful like young waiter, but it's also be nice or say thank you or comment on how great was the food or how great was the service. But another one is like not ask her but try to be accommodative, like for example, she's coughing and it's a very like Western thing, I guess, like she's, for example, and you asking, would you like some water? Just don't ask, just give the water. And that is like wow effect. And so little points like really bring the wonderful picture about you. It can be anything, or like she need a tissue or a napkin, you give it before she's asking. Really attentive and pay attention.
This is more important than us Westerners think, okay?
Yeah,
so
very
stressing on that.
Guys, we would like to invite you to join us for our annual rendezvous. This year it will be in Austin, Texas on 25th of April. Me and Stryker are going to meet you in person, answer all of your questions, have a Ukrainian lunch, and introduce you to Ukrainian culture. Let us meet together.
Okay, so conversation. So when you're having a conversation with her at the restaurant, how's that supposed to go? So there's a few points where the guys can kind of muck this up. Okay, number one, don't go too deep into topics about yourself, even if it's good or bad, right? So that'll all come out later on. And definitely don't do anything negative. You know, if she asks you about your work, how did you get into that job? Don't go, wow, it all started, you know, when I was like 12 years old when I started my first business and blah, 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 blah. No, you don't need to do all of that stuff, right? Because it's going to get boring for her, right?
And not just boring, sometimes even if the ladies speak very good English, like at the beginning, like the first couple of seconds or minutes, the person is very attentive. She's listening. It's a different language. She doesn't speak this language probably every day. And then in some time, it's more like, oh, I missed something. And she don't want to interrupt you. And like she's keep listening, but the last part, she doesn't get at all. So if you answer the questions or if you get to some discussion, do not go too long and don't repeat yourself because it's really, really confusing.
Yeah, okay. And the number one on the conversation list here, I'll put it down here for some reason. We've talked about this before, and it is to make her feel interesting. Because when she feels interesting, she feels interested in you, right? So, and how you do that is to really get to know her. If she says, and this is where you can try and go a little bit deeper with her and see how she reacts to that. If she is, I don't know, a music teacher, how did you get into that? Try to find out as much as you can. She's going to love talking about her passions, maybe her family, even her job. Maybe if she really enjoys her job. So make her feel interesting. That should be probably one of the biggest priorities in the interaction, because when she goes away from that and she's felt interesting and you've been interested in her, she's going to think, what an interesting guy that was. I've never had such an interesting conversation. And all you've done is make her feel interesting.
And I want to add here also some examples. It's not so much about like how interesting is this guy. Like on my opinion, it's more about emotions, because working with the ladies so long and with the guys, you know, sometimes we think that we miss like, you know, other person, like our ex, for example. And to be honest, like the only thing that we're missing is we're missing the feeling that we had when we were with them, like of ourselves. And so what we want you to build with the lady, it's the feeling that with you, she felt protected. With you, she felt good. With you, she felt fun. And how can you do it? Is that if the lady is saying something, you listen to her and then you say like little words, little questions will help. For example, she's saying that, you know, when I was a kid, I was like, do this. And you say, oh, really? Or you say like, wow, that is interesting. Or something like,
I used to be a kid too.
Yeah.
Small world.
Something funny, you know, something situational. Not just like keep asking and asking and asking questions, because it really does feel like an interview.
Yeah.
But making these little comments about, wow, I never heard of that. I definitely gonna research. Like I see that all the time on the dates when the guy on the online dates, when the guy is asking, for example, yesterday was a call and the guy liked the horror movies and she also about zombie and etc. And so he asked her what are her favorite movies. Sometimes it can be the answer that he already knew them, but he didn't. And he say, oh, wow, that is interesting. I never heard of that. Let me write down. And so the lady already felt like, that is good. Like that is interesting. So he makes, you make the girl feel good. And of course, like I teach my girls to do the same, but you as a man watching this movie, just remember about these little hints and things.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal situation, because we say here, which is also important, which is the 80-20 rule, which is that she's speaking 80% of the time and you're 20% of the time. Of course, it's very difficult to stick to this. The reason that we don't say 50-50 is because it's too easy for the men to go into 60-70 and then she's in the 20. So the 80-20 rule. Now, if she has the same idea of a date as this, it would be great because you're both trying to get each other to talk as much as possible to make the other person feel interesting. But that rarely ever happens. So, you know, you've got to take the lead on that one. Okay, so the next one is never ever complain. Okay, so we've heard reports of, you know, a guy goes on a date and he complains. He complains about the waiter, the food, the whatever.
Life, country.
Everything, yeah, politics, everything. Never ever complain about anything at all. Even if the food comes out and the steak is not cooked and the steak is raw, don't complain about it. Don't complain to her about it. Even with the waiter, don't complain to the waiter about it, unless it's something that's like happened to her, right? Something bad happened to her. She sat on a chair and the chair broke and she fell on the ground.
It's okay, baby. Yeah, it's very important to be positive. You know, there's so much negativity in the world that when the girl, like I recently had a consultation with a girl and she said, you know, Luba, like this guy was so positive that it was even annoying. But she said that it was so contagious. You know, she said like after I left the meeting, it was so like everything in his life was positive. And I was thinking like, how shitty is my life? You know, I'm always complaining about stuff. But he chose to only only see the good stuff. And that is what you should do. Like, it's important to not say anything bad about political situation. As you mentioned, like, healthcare and etc. Everything is positive. Wow, that is a wonderful stake. Yeah, it can be a little bit like it's a little bit overdone, but it's great. I'm so happy to be in this company today. It's such a blast, to do this. Like, positivity really, really helps to build that connection and to build that positive.
And it's not even like that crazy of a thing to say. Do you know anyone who likes hanging around someone who complains and who is negative? No, there's not a person on the face of this planet that enjoys that, unless they're also a negative person that can complain.
I want to give an example, like, also about that museum of diseases that we went. Like, it's really like, for some reason, like, it brings me to this place a lot. Like, when we've been in UK, between the meetings, like, we decided to do something fun, and in Stryker's mind, to do something fun is. There was actually nothing.
It was right there.
Yeah, it
was like, let's go and do that.
Like, okay, I would give it.
It was in an old church.
Yeah, so Stryker, like, it's architecture. It was very
romantic.
Yeah, when we came and we said, like, what is that? Stryker, like, started to flirt with this lady for some reason, and he said, like, what is here? And she said, oh, it's a very interesting museum. Remember that woman or no? Like, Museum of Disease. And Stryker say, wow, that is a wonderful idea. Let's go. And we went, and it was absolutely horrible experience, because it was like, I don't even know, like, I can't even repeat what was there. There was like all kind of genitalias.
Yeah,
peepees with some disease, and like, I don't know, it was shocking. But we just made fun of it. I understand, I can see that any Ukrainian girl probably would give the hardest possible time, and I'm ashamed of that. Like, saying, oh, why did you bring me to this place? It's like, it smell, because we was even smelling somebody's urine.
You wouldn't take a date to the Museum of
But
Disease.
it was nothing else. Like, it was called, and probably the guy would take it. Like, it can be anywhere.
Who even came up with that idea? Who thought that would be a good idea?
You said. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that you need to make sure, like, you need to not go deep into the emotions. Like, if you see something and you got disappointed, you need to cheer her up and say, it's just an experience. Have you ever been in such?
You were disappointed with the museum? This is the first I'm hearing of this. I thought we had a great time.
We run away. But you should say that, have you ever been in anything most ridiculous than that? So you need to make fun. You need to bring good memories. You need to remember about that with a great smile. And that's it. Because one of you, like, both of you can come to this Museum of Disease and you can be very disappointed. You spend money on ticket, that's like, it's horrible, it's dirty, whatever. But if you will not let that disappointment, like, attack you, like, or overcome you, you will take her out of that and you will just laugh about that. It's all you need. Next one. Talking about.
I'm shocked. I thought we had a great time at the Museum of Disease. All right, let's keep going.
And talking about that Museum of Disease, like, we want to move to a next point, where that is multiple dates in one date.
Yeah. So don't just think, I'll take you to the restaurant and that's it. Okay. You want to have this little roller coaster of different events. Maybe you stop at the Museum of Disease to start off with, to just check it out, to see, what's going on there. But you want to plan that. In our course Ascend, we discuss this. We call it being the director of the play. And think about where you want the evening to end up and where do you want it to start, right? Please. I can't get over this.
Me too. I just remember how you opened that shell and was like,
let's not discuss it. So anyway, so maybe it'll start off that you meet somewhere for a drink, maybe a cocktail or something like that. Then you go to the restaurant. Then after the restaurant, instead of sitting there for like all the evening, you say, let's go on our place where we can get some dessert. And then you're going for a walk, then you're going for a dessert. So the date becomes multiple dates. In her mind, it feels like an adventure. It wasn't like she went somewhere and then left the same building. She left multiple times and arrived at multiple times, put a jacket on multiple times. It feels like an adventure. All right, so
museum shouldn't take our clothes off.
I'll put a link down below if you guys want to check out the Museum of Disease.
But I want to say that multiple dates is cool, because it's something that, girls are gossiping, and she will say to her friend, what? We went to this place and this place, and you need to little bit plan it. And, it depends on the mood, it depends on the circumstance, it depends on the age, of course, but also plan it like, some guys go to to amusement park, which is closed. They go to amusement park, or they go to some, maybe like little like 3D, 5D, 7D little movie, like for 20 minutes. Something that make you good, give you good vibe, give you good memories, give you good emotion, give you laugh. It can be a museum of like not windows, mirrors. Like,
I've never been to that museum.
know how you call this museum where you fat and you slim and you tall and you
That's the
short?
Museum of Disease.
So like something that you just saw and you, but very important to read the comments, because one time we had a very bad experience. The guy wasn't our client, but he was dating a lady and he did a strategy call with us, and he said that he can't understand why the day didn't go well, because it's a younger guy and he invited the girl to um, a milkshake little bar. And so she was a little bit late and he already ordered this milkshake. And when she entered, like he was sitting there with a giant like pink milkshake with a lot of different like marshmallows. And like she literally immediately can't take him serious or can't take him, as a masculine man, like with this pink baby cocktail. So read the comments, watch the pictures, do some research. It's interesting, and be prepared. Be prepared. And also, Ukrainian ladies, I need to admit, they love stories. And I always tell this to our clients, no matter what you give to her, you can, like, this is my new light for the phone, you can tell that this light was like brought from some Chinese shop somewhere. You need to give the story, or, like, do you know this game Together? It's the game that Hard Rocket created, Luba and Stryker created. And, I decided that it would be a great way to get to know each other. Let's play. Or you can tell her anything. It needs to have a little bit of a story. Why did you choose this restaurant? There was such a comment about this. There was like people were saying that this is like the best, the first pizzeria in Florence, whatever. There needs to be a story. There needs to be a memory, because she will take a picture, she will tell her friends or post it on it. Like, I've been in this incredible place. So
Yeah, and
memories.
the good thing about doing the multiple dates, it introduces this mystery and spontaneity into it, and women love that. We know that because it's in all of those romantic comedies, and so they want to experience those emotions. Okay, so now the next one is
Can I say one thing? It's like sometimes it's so important. Like some girls, if you travel to a new place, they love to buy this like keychains and magnets and key rings and stuff. So make sure that you, like, if you're traveling like somewhere else, you're meeting her, just stop in some shop and just get some souvenirs together, like something for memory or something. It's important because like most of the guys, they don't care about such stuff, and for girls it's very important. And sometimes they look at that. It would be also a nice memory to have. Oh, remember we bought this like our first key ring together. Something like that. Something like that. You understand?
very important.
Yes.
Okay, so expensive or not? Okay, emotions can override money. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was expensive tickets to that museum, but emotions, definitely.
Yeah. So it's not all about make it expensive, right? You don't want to make it super cheap, because you'd have to have some pretty good emotions if you took it to like McDonald's to get a coffee or something. So, but emotions can override the fact, the experience, the roller coaster ride, the spontaneity and the mystery can override having a fancy date where you sit there and you eat like a $400 meal each, and you just kind of sit there.
And boring, and
And
it's
boring.
like it's like 3-4 hours and you start falling asleep because you ate too much. Like, no, definitely emotions are something that people are lacking and something that they're really, really looking for. Emotions can be brought, like, if you speak positive, if you are dreaming, if you are fantasizing on a date, if you if you do multiple different things, if you say the stories about like why did you go to this specialty coffee, or why did you choose that, or why you wanted to try that, that is bring the emotions, that is bring connection. Because when the guy says something that the girl, like, you will be surprised. I have to say that I forgot. On all of my consultations nowadays, the ladies are saying, for me, like, I get goosebumps like when the guy is smart. I get the goosebumps when the guy is like educated. And I never like struggle with that, but ladies want, because guys almost always older, even if it is like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, they want to learn something from you. They want to know something interesting. And so the guy is telling something interesting and unusual, not the, common sense facts, but something different. Ladies are very, very attracted for them. That is what they call one of the most attractive traits.
Oh, it's a mating cue. Just like for men looking at a
You just
woman,
made me stupid because I don't know what this means.
like a mating cue. It's like there are cues, there are like clues, I guess you could say, that person would be a good person to mate with, like from an evolutionary point of view. Because if a woman has good nails, good hair, good skin, then she's healthy. Babies will be healthy. And so for a woman, she wants to look at a man and see, would he be a good provider, right? And if there is intelligence there, chances are he's smart and he can find a way to provide for them.
That is very true. Many girls, many girls, I'm telling you, like many girls,
Many.
they say that they want a smart man. They're looking for somebody intelligent. And also, like one thing that we didn't put here, but super important. Please, guys, do not be goofy or self-deprecating on the first date. Don't make funny faces when she's taking picture. Don't do like this when I don't know if you can see. Don't do it when you do the photos. You're adult men, and it's very important to keep your frame. That is a conclusion. For me, that is a conclusion.
No, I haven't finished yet. This is the conclusion here. So the mindset that you need to have when you go into this date, no matter what it is, whether it's one location, two locations, whatever it is, apply everything that we have said here. The conversation one, that's a deep topic. We've just kind of summarized it really fast. The mindset that you should have is that after you have finished this date, regardless of what happens, regardless of how you think it's going to progress, whether it's going to go any further, you're going to start dating more, whatever it is, you want her to compare that date with you with all of her future dates from now on. So when she goes on a date with someone, she's always going to think, why can't this new guy that I'm on a date with do what that last guy did? And you'll always be forever burnt in her mind as the best guy that she's ever been on, or the most interesting, the most exciting, the most thrilling, whatever it is, you want to have this in your mind when you go on the date. And it's a good place to start.
Absolutely agree.
So go ahead and go and do that. We'll see you later.
Later.